Good morning and welcome to Going to Work with Gena, which is an Inspiremercial for STEM students. And this week we're talking about that second step of the guide to make a decision, which is plan. You gotta make sure you plan. So we already did the first step, which was to review Skyward and College Board. Now, what I want you to do is I actually want you to look at your ultimate destination station. That's what I call it. Because this is the place where you're going to grow up. This is the place where you're going to spend at least the next 4 years. So if that's college, you need to choose your college environment. If that's the military, you need to figure out which branch of the military you want to be in. And if you're just going to decide to work, you need to know, where will you work? Will you work locally, the place you live? Will you live with your mom and dad? Or will you go off and live with an aunt or an uncle? Because I've had a lot of friends that have done that in the past, where they've actually moved to a whole nother state. So whenever you're making whatever decision that you want to make, there is an ultimate destination, a place, an environment that you are choosing to be a part of. So today, what I've done is that I want to tell you 3 things that you must look at when you're choosing a college, okay, or a branch of the military, or a place to work. So the thing you're going to think about is, what criteria will I need to have in order to enter that institution? So if it's college, you got to look at your test scores, you got to look at your GPA, okay? You got to understand what those mean. So for instance, if I live right here in Sanford and I wanted to attend University of Central Florida, UCF, that means that I'm going to have to score somewhere between a 1010 and a 1500 on the SAT. I have to have somewhere in the somewhat of a 21 on the ACT. And they're looking now, they are so competitive that they're looking, their average is a 3.9 GPA coming out of high school. Okay, that's coming out of high school. That's what the GPA is. All right, so now you're going to look at those different schools. Some other schools I had on my list were FAMU, Howard University, Morgan State, Georgia Tech, and North Carolina A&T. All right, so I would do that same thing where I would go to those schools, look at test scores and GPA as entrance criteria to get in. Then I would think about the cost, the annual cost it will take to attend that school. So now you're getting into, are you going to stay in state, or are you going to go out of state? Okay. And then if you're going to go out of state, are there going to be some type of scholarships that those schools could offer to you to subsidize your actual tuition, annual tuition? So these are some of the things that you need to think about. So let's say, for instance, at UCF, if you're an in-state student, it's going to cost you about $6,400 a year. Whereas if you're an out-of-state student, it's going to cost you $22,500. Okay, that's a huge difference. So sometimes staying in state has advantages. And then the other thing you're going to look at is the distance that school is away from your home base, because you're going to want to come home for some holidays, okay, and some miscellaneous activity. Sometimes you're going to miss your parents, and to get that total school work balanced life, you're going to need to come back to your base to re-energize and to reinvigorate yourself, okay? So these are the things you must think about. Interest criteria to get into school, okay, college, that's what I mean, the military, or to take a job. All right, and then you're going to look at the GPA, okay, and then you're going to look at cost. How much will it cost to do this annually? And then you're going to look at some of that miscellaneous travel that's going to come in there so that you can come back to your home base. So I want to thank you for going to work with Gena this morning. If there's any Inspiremercials that you've missed, please don't hesitate to go to YouTube, Going to Work with Gena. Thank you.